All right, everybody, welcome back. This is Dan Harley's Tech Talk with Dan Harley, episode number 96, How Technology has Changed in Developing Countries, recorded on June 23rd, 2017. Well, I had some recent personal challenges here. My wife is currently in Vietnam because my father-in-law had some health issues. And I've been in pretty good communication with her and since she left and all that stuff and over there. And also, I should add, too, my mom has been in Ho Chi Minh City for several months, and I've talked to her 2-3 times a day. So, now, all this wasn't like this not too long ago. It seemed like we're taking it seemed like lackluster being able to talk to anybody in the world right now, but not long ago, it was pretty tough to make this happen. So we're going to talk about that in this episode. Last episode number 95, was announcing some exciting changes. Yeah, I'm going to be doing some gradual changes in the format of the show here. I'm intending to interview more small businesses and focus more on their problems in the upcoming episodes. I'm getting near my 100th episode here, so I'm kind of reflecting back on, I need to do a few things here to stay on the intended course here. So anyway, look for that episode number 95. We kind of explain that a little bit more in detail. So before we get going here, let's talk on the topic and let's talk about some announcements. As usual, thank you very much for listening and watching. I greatly appreciate you folks out there tuning in and YouTubing and all this stuff. Very much help. I do it for you guys, and especially when I get some input back. Hey, Dan, I you to help me out here, help me out there. It warms my heart. That's why I keep on doing this stuff. And also, I got a major sponsor too, so we're going to talk about that a little bit later. If you're listening on iTunes or on Android, you can look at go through the podcast directories and rate my show, submit a review, and really appreciate that because it helps my audience grow. If you're watching YouTube, naturally subscribe to the channel, leave a comment, some questions, kudos, all that good stuff, and it helps my channel grow there too. If you need to find me or find the show somehow, some way, you go to primeconcepts.net. That's primeconcepts.net. You find links to the podcast show. You'll find some great stuff on the site, free tutorials of business and internet-related topics, and my favorite tutorial, almost free ways to advertise your business online. Either way, please pass the word. Share the episode. Tell others about the podcast show and the YouTube channel. Greatly appreciate it there. A quick legal disclaimer. Products mentioned in this and other episodes of Tech Talk with Dan Harley could be paid as affiliate commission, promotion commission, or the liking by the product or service provider. In other words, I just might try to sell you something. And along those lines there, I want to make sure you take advantage of a sponsor, which is Carbonite. If you don't back up your computer on a regular basis, or you risk any important data being lost. Trust me, it's happened to me quite a few times. And it can happen, but in a split second, all of a sudden you're going along, and all of a sudden something has a computer, it's gone. You can lose accounting files, you can lose personal documents, family pictures, you name it. And other important documents too would just be gone in a split second. That's why you need something like Carbonite. Now, Carbonite is a cloud backup service that is renowned for being extremely easy to use. You need no technical skills required, and it backs up everything on your computer automatically. In fact, I had one of my clients there, very, very computer savvy, very novice at this, had an issue with their law office, and I basically sent her a link. She clicked on it, installed it, got everything going without an issue with that, and called an IT person like me out to go fix it. So think about that. No worries, no hassle. Also, you've had high quality encryption too. If you have issues with HIPAA compliance or a law firm, they have a version that is highly encrypted, so your data is completely secured and protected. And also, no worries, no hassles, and very affordable. Less than 20 cents per day to back up and protect your computer. So, like I said, we partner with Carbonite, offer a great offer here. And what that is, you can try Carbonite out for free at primeconcepts.net/link/Carbonite. That's primeconcepts.net/link/Carbonite. You can find this link to and other free offers we have on the show and everything else at primeconcepts.net. Also, if you're having problems with your business, spending too much time spending too much time and money on a website, on internet advertising and really not getting anywhere, we can help you out. You know, you can call us to schedule a free consultation where where we will review your situation, your online strategies, your online presence, and tell you what's wrong or what's right. And we'll no obligation to go forward. We do this free for all our customers. Initial consultation is always free, and I've been very proud that we've been able to help many business owners go in the right direction and become successful. So you can contact us at 760-247-4814. That's 760-247-4814, or find more information at primeconsult.net. So anyway, back to the episode of 96, how technology has changed in developed countries. A little story here is my wife and my mother in Vietnam right now. As mentioned, my mom has been there for a few months there. We're working out on some business transactions, getting pretty close, and pretty excited about it. I talk to her just about at least every day, just about twice a day, and maybe even more. Audio, video. In fact, I have to fix her computer from here, and I'd have to deal with the home security system from here, about 8,500 miles away. So my wife, we just had a little bit of issue with her father-in-law. He's not doing well. He's up there in age, and so we had to basically rapidly send her back to Hanoi. And we're able to keep in contact. We talk to our son, keep in regular contact, knowing what's going on there. In fact, before she left, we were in regular contact with my brother-in-law, her brother, knowing what's happening here. I mentioned this was not capable. It was not possible not very long ago. Technology has made this possible, and it wasn't really all that way all the time. In fact, relatively short time ago, Vietnam's technology, internet technology, can be considered kind of backwards. So, in fact, let me kind of walk you down history lane here about all this and how they kind of progressed all the time. I go like pre-2005. This is before I actually recently visited Vietnam as an adult, and my mother would go there often, and she'd basically disappear. We were lucky to get 2-3 calls from her while she's there. She might be gone for a month or two. If we get 2-3 calls at all, just knowing that she's alive, okay, that's all we're going to get. And that's where the technology was at the time. And maybe my mom's technology, we don't know. My first visit to Vietnam kind of opened my eyes to this. I didn't know what to expect. It was a huge culture shock to me. I was expecting to be basically cut off. Me being a technology, internet savvy kind of guy, stuff's always around me. Technology's always around me. All of a sudden, going to essentially this communist country and dealing with all these developing third world kind of issues with the technology. So as soon as I got into Hanoi, one of the first things to see was the internet cafes everywhere. Dozens and dozens of them, and there's more internet cafes than anything else out there. And in turn, I was able to go to the internet cafe, and relatively cheap too. I mean, we're talking, it cost me a dime an hour to go to these internet cafes. Very, very inexpensive. And I was able to subsequently, I was able to take my laptop, plug it in, and email my friends and call friends and so on and so forth. And at the time, it was very unique. I was one of very few people who had a laptop in the whole country. Reason being is computers were very costly back then. It's still kind of costly now, but it could cost 2-3 months' wages for a basic laptop back then. And so me having my own computer was quite unique and a bit of a luxury item, but we worked it out. Also, I should mention too, TV was part of the technology out there, even though it's kind of an older technology. There was TV over there. They had maybe 6 or 7 government channels, and I was impressed that HBO English was basically broadcasted for free. And to my understanding, that's how a lot of folks learn English, is through watching HBO. And also they had some international news channels at the MTV, which is Unfortunately, they learned English that way too, and CNN International. And now I got married. I met my wife that first trip, my fiance at the time, and I returned in 2006. But before I would return, I had planned for months ahead to work from Hanoi or from Vietnam because I knew I was going to be there for a few months. So I went ahead and got brought my own equipment because I knew it was not going to be there, and we had a house at near what's called the Red River. That goes along the side of Hanoi on the eastern side. We were maybe a couple blocks away from the Red River, and we had a house there. We're actually right next to a internet cafe, and I subsequently rented a port from their router and ran the cable up to my house. And I actually had to bring my own cable too, so it was pretty rough how I was able to get online, but I was able to get online. And I also noticed something here too, that all these internet cafes, most people are just playing games. They're not really doing anything, programming or anything, or maybe just emails, but predominantly game playing. And now also something else here, everybody had a cell phone too. And I thought it would be, based on what I've seen there at the time, I thought it would be many years before Vietnam caught up to us as a developing country. Because I figured because the expensive computers, the fact that their access to computers is very limited to the internet cafes, and then they basically played games on these computers. I figured they're going to be really dragging behind the rest of us. But it turned to be a little bit changed here. But before I get into that, let's talk about something else here too. As the internet became more accessible, Vietnam tried to find what was that? Try to follow the China's path and create a firewall, a great firewall as they call it, and trying to limit access to the outside world on the internet. I thought that, well, me being the technology guru as I am, I was able to get around it pretty quick. Basically, I used a VPN or Google's Open DNS, and that firewall kind of went away pretty fast. But then again, just about everyone in Vietnam knew how to get around the firewall too. I thought that was pretty interesting. And even though that this firewall was supposed to limit access to the Western world, for lack of better terms, it did very little to do that. And then again, I'll also know something else here too. More people started using smartphones, and some people started to have laptops. And as time progressed, as we've visited Vietnam in the upcoming years, you get more smartphones. More people had home computers or what you call it, the laptop computers, and there were fewer internet cafes. When we did, and then one thing I found very fascinating, by the time 2013 came around, which is about 6-7 years after I got married, 7 years after I kind of came back to Vietnam, that 2013 trip really opened my eyes here. First of all, I've seen that Wi-Fi was everywhere in Vietnam, as well in the cities at least. In fact, there's what's called a New World Hotel, which is a very popular, probably one of the best hotels in all of Vietnam. They were providing free Wi-Fi to the park across the street from the hotel, and everybody had a smartphone. It was a huge in the schools. There's a huge push for technology-related education. Bear with me to be a little political here. You see a lot of folks in American colleges, they go for these weird degrees like women's studies or something like that. But you don't see that in Vietnam. You see it going after technology stuff, medical stuff. You're going after practical application type of degrees. And this is kind of disturbed me a little bit. I'm saying here that this country, even though it's smaller, fraction the size of us, they're putting a lot more emphasis on getting practical degrees, technology degrees. And so you see a huge push for technology-related education. University producing thousands of programmers, network engineers, at basic wholesale. had a pretty rough setting compared to what we have in the United States. Keep in mind that the cost of living is about 1/8 in Vietnam as here, but certain things still cost the same, such as laptops and computers and network routers. A network router costs $60 here, going to cost about $60 over there. Laptop costs about $1,000 here, costs about $1,000 over there. So it's not as accessible to technology as we are in the United States. And on top of that, what they have is really, what they have available is really kind of low-grade equipment and not very impressive. However, that environment, even though it was very, what I call dirty, probably made it even better as network engineers or programmers or whatever, than if they had the luxuries of more modern stuff. So, and then relatively recent here, we have a house in Can Gia, Vietnam, and Ho Chi Minh City, just kind of one of the outskirts of Ho Chi Minh City. Can Gia is basically an island in the Saigon Delta, and during the Vietnam War, is actually a Vietnam jungle camp. In fact, and it's pretty rough living back then. In fact, it's so bad that the Navy SEALs were sent into Can Gia to fight the Viet Cong, and they basically gave up after 2 days. And so that's basically where we live, is what used to be a jungle. And it's where, in fact, we're not too far away from a jungle. We can walk to it. What I found crazy is the accessibility, internet access over there. We're able to get fiber optic at our house over there. And this is like, if you heard of Verizon Fios or Verizon used to have Fios, now it's Frontier. Basically, glass fiber, the fastest the fast modern technology to transport communication, whatever. And we're able to get this at our house that's maybe a half mile away from the jungle. And we can get up to 100 megabits, so I mean super duper fast, very reliable, and cheaper than what we get in the United States. And in fact, my internet at the house over there in Can Gia is better than many people have just down the street from me. So that was incredible. And considering 10 years ago that they were barely running off DSL and working out internet cafes, now you can get bandwidth better than some places in the United States at a house near a jungle. So that's crazy stuff. I also noticed here too that just about any public business, such as restaurants and stuff like that, they all provide free Wi-Fi. Just about in fact, very few places do not provide some type of free Wi-Fi. All the coffee shops do, all the restaurants do, all the hotels do. It's just standard part of the business. Whereas, in fact, we could walk around District 1 in Vietnam, which is basically in Ho Chi Minh City, which is basically downtown Ho Chi Minh City there, Saigon. You can run into dozens of places that provide free Wi-Fi. Basically, you get a pool of signal, and which is crazy. And I've never seen something like that in the United States, in fact, unless I'm on a college campus. So that was pretty eye-opening, to say the least. So also, another thing I've noticed too is the firewall kind of went away. There was no firewall at all. And how I figured this out was an easy test as I look for porn sites and other sites too. But they're completely open access now, and where it was so unlimited in the past. So basically, that firewall is gone in Vietnam, which is a huge advantage over their northern neighbor China, which still has a firewall. In fact, that firewall is getting even more intense with them. So. And we'll talk about it a little bit further too. Also, TV. Vietnam has really embraced digital TV, whereas it is streaming content. So it's like having Roku. All the traditional channels are all streamed now. Plus, many more channels opened up. Vietnam's TVs, their standard TVs, are now built with smart streaming. Okay, so basically it's like having a Roku built into your into your in your TV. So that was crazy. In fact, there's the standard channels that was there 10 years ago, 11 years ago, are now there along with dozens of these other channels in Vietnamese, in English as well, and accessible so long as you have some type of Wi-Fi or internet access. It is extremely well impressive. In fact, I don't compared to what I have in my house here. I actually have better more channels available in Vietnam than I do here from Cox Cable or the Charter Cables Company. So that's crazy. Also, cell coverage. One thing that's still kind of lagging behind is Vietnam, at least at this time, did not have 4G available, at least for my service provider. But cell coverage was fantastic, pretty much everywhere I went. I could go in the middle of the jungle and hold a conversation, and now it's mostly 3G speeds, but that's good enough to do VoIP calls, so I can make Skype calls to anywhere in the world, and also I can do some limited video. And so, what was impressed me with the cell coverage was fantastic. So, anyway, all this means that Vietnam is emerging as a technology powerhouse, technology outsourcing powerhouse. They're renowned for working like dogs and getting paid very little, because they're not behind a firewall and access to everything essentially like we do in the United States. They're not limited to what they can do, unlike in China. So that's a huge advantage over the northern neighbors when it comes to be able to outsource and stuff like that. And basically, the country went from essentially caveman times to cutting edge technology just a few years. And in fact, I think lack of certain technology vaulted the technology over other technology. For example, the copper phone lines that are present in most of the older cities were laid down when the French were there. So it was pretty old stuff, and so the phone, how we kind of migrated from having phone to a little bit better phone to internet, so on and so forth. Vietnam had really bad phone service and just jumped to cellular service and then moved on from there. So they kind of leapfrog some steps in technology, which is, in my opinion, probably worked out better for them. So, what could this mean for other developing countries? Well, it's proven, at least in Vietnam here, that technology can rapidly change a developing society. It opens up every corner of the community, every corner of that country to communicate to the rest of the world. Easier, cheaper education, and you could probably fastest and most economic way to advance a society. So I think it's all good. And something else that's actually I can see as a fact with, especially with Vietnam, that developing countries could catch up, even surpass developed countries. And I'm going to say this out front here: some of the technology that Vietnam has right now, we don't have here yet. So, and I don't think they realize it. So it is something to think about. So I think it's all a good thing. What do we do over here in the United States? Well, I think if you see how fast some of these developing countries are going, if you or your children are considering a let's say a degree in women's studies or something else that's not and I don't mean to be, well, I'm going to say it anyway, a non-productive degree, I guess, and I don't think I'm going to get hacked for that here, but a degree that's going to advance the society technology-wise, programming, network engineering, medicine, construction, stuff like that, robotics, those technologies there, if we don't have an emphasis on that, more of an emphasis on that, we're going to get surpassed by these other developing countries. in a very short time, Vietnam went from being the Stone Age to being extremely advanced. And this is a small country of all 80 or 90 people. Imagine we get in India, you see this growth, same as China, and you see all the other developing countries too that are seeing technology as a way out. So that's something to think about. So anyway, let's go ahead and wrap it up. Now, I also mention too, if you want to back to try to help out businesses out there. If you want to drive more customers to your business, you want to do it cheaper and faster, then you need to use the internet, okay? And we can help you. We can help you with that. What you do is give us a call for a free consultation. You can contact us at primeconsult.net or send an email to info@primeconsult.net or call us at 760-247-4814. So anyway, I think that's going to be it for this episode. So folks, thank you for watching and listening, and good luck and Godspeed to your online success.